I recently watched the film Disclosure Day, and whilst it's a movie about discovering aliens, its real message is about something much more human: our desperate need for empathy. It reminded me of a case I've been sitting on since my 1973 deep dive, a story where a visitation didn't bring us together, but instead tore a man's life apart. This is the tragic account of Jeff Greenhaw and the Falkville Metal Man, and it's a haunting reminder that sometimes the way we treat each other is far more alien than anything from the stars. In the film, the disclosure of the others is a catalyst for us to finally see one another. But in Falkville, Alabama, on October 17, 1973, a sighting had the exact opposite effect. Jeff Greenhaw was just a 26-year-old police chief responding to a routine call about flashing lights. He wasn't looking for a life-altering encounter, he was just doing his job. Armed with nothing but his camera, he drove up a lonely gravel road and came face to face with a figure that looked like it had stepped straight off a silver screen. The figure was dressed in a proper alien visitor suit, silver, and appeared to be around Jeff's height of 6 foot, maybe a bit taller. It seemed to have antennae coming out of its head, and according to a report to the National Tatler, it moved towards Greenhaw, who said, "Howdy, stranger," and took 4 photographs of it. But the being took off, and Greenhaw reported it ran faster than any human I saw. And those photos became famous, but the truth about the person inside the suit wouldn't come forward for decades. Greenhaw got back into his car to give chase, but ultimately he couldn't catch the figure as his car broke its axle during the pursuit. To this day, he still believes he saw an alien, but has also said he did initially think the figure was wearing aluminium foil. Well, it sounds ridiculous, right? Well, it's like something out of a low-budget movie, but the town of Falkville didn't find it funny. After making his report stating it was an alien, he was asked to step down from his role with the police. His then-wife divorced him, and the townsfolk ridiculed him. His home was even burnt down, and almost precisely a decade after his encounter, 3 items which he'd had in his car during that 1973 incident were stolen from his home. And that brings us to a man called Charlton Hall, who was a psychotherapist and, though now retired, has a book out called Tinfoil Aliens: How to Fake an Alien Invasion, which recounts the pranks he took part in with a group of friends in the 1970s, the first of which would be our Falkville Metal Man. It was actually a member of this group who was dressed in an improvised costume of mylar or space blankets, duct tape and welding gear. They'd initially used a balloon to simulate a UFO, the sighting of which was the report that sent Greenhaw on the hunt. You might also ask, how could the prankster run so fast that it was believed faster than any human? Well, in the National Tatler article, Greenhaw says he was scared, frightened with what had to have been a huge adrenaline surge. I think it's fair to say he only believed that's what happened. What could have been a harmless prank, however, effectively ruined Greenhaw's life. He has spent his time since his experience staying out of the public eye and generally keeping his head down. In Disclosure Day, it took a literal alien arrival for us to find our grace. For Jeff Greenhaw, that grace never came. If we want a better world, maybe we shouldn't wait for the stars to align. Maybe we should start by being a little more empathetic to the people right here on Earth. Well, I'm staying in 1973 for the moment, and next time I hope you'll join me for a case which took place only 6 days earlier than the Falkville Metal Man. We'll be exploring the Pascagoula abduction incident. Bye for now.